Welcome everyone to Coffee with a Codex. My name is Dot Porter. I am a curator in the Kislak Center for Special Collections, Rare Books and Manuscripts at the University of Pennsylvania Libraries. I split my time with the Kislak Center and the Schoenberg Institute for Manuscript Studies, which is a research and development institute focusing on manuscripts. So we work with our physical collections, including today's event and other video-oriented things that I do. We do a lot of social media, and then of course a lot of working with our digital collections. So welcome everyone for coming. If you haven't been before, you're very welcome. I hope you enjoy today's program. If you've been here before, it's really great to have you back. Once a week on Thursdays at noon, I get a book off the shelf and we just take a look. So this week we are looking at MS Codex 243. Technically it's oversized, which in this case just means it's a little bit tall to fit on our shelves. So our regular shelves have a certain height. I'm not entirely sure, maybe it's a foot, 12 inches, maybe a little more. This is just bigger than that. So although the manuscript itself, as you can see, is not very hefty, it is tall, so it's housed with the other oversized manuscripts. This is a manuscript from around 1500, so sort of maybe late 15th, early 16th century, and it was made in Italy. It has a more modern binding. The binding, let's see what it says about the binding. Modern half vellum. So half vellum just means that the spine here is covered with vellum. Not very interesting on the outside, but if we open it up, it immediately gets more interesting. And this is really why I wanted to look at this manuscript, because it has just some really beautiful initials. And I really just want to spend some time looking at the initials today. The text is pretty interesting in itself. We've been looking at a lot of translations recently, translations and commentaries. And a few weeks ago, we looked at another Aristotle text. This one is a whole other thing. It's described in the record as an Italian compendium of Aristotle's Nichomachean ethics. I wasn't sure what that meant. It's a summary. So it is not the complete Nichomachean ethics. It's not a translation exactly, but it is an Italian sort of summary of the text, Nichomachean ethics. One of Aristotle's great ethical texts, my understanding is that it was focused on politics, and it may have been named after his son or his father, both of whom were named I'm going to say it incorrectly, Nichomacheus. So that's where that Nichomachean gets put in there. It's a book it's a work in 10 books. And as we look through here, we'll see each section. So there's a large, I don't think this is even a letter. It might be a letter O actually. But the decoration around it, I've never really seen anything quite like it. Like I look at it and I think, oh, that looks, 15th century Italian, but it's really gorgeous. The text also, I think, is very pretty. It's just a really pretty and attractive book. Leslie Winokur says it looks Islamic. Maybe I don't actually know enough. Maybe when we turn the page, we'll see. I always have to say I am not an art historian, so my interest is more sort of general here. So let's take a look. Here we have some more of these really neat. They're just so neat looking. And a lot of them have these vines with little fruit. Maybe berries. It looks almost like a raspberry or a strawberry around it. A lot of color and different color. So we have purple and then a green one here. It is written on paper. which at this time isn't going to be surprising. There is a little bit, somebody's had a little snack. So there's some little holes, some holes in the paper here, where somebody came in and had a little snack. So here's another more purple and red. There we go, that's a bit better. Purple and red, we have rubricated headings. And also, I hope you can see, there's a lot of yellow sort of, I would call it rubric, but it's not, because it's not red, it's sort of more yellow, but like dots of yellow that are put in some of the in some of the letters, which are just really really neat. In catalog records, so Amy says in catalog records we say touched with yellow. So that is indeed, somebody's just come in with I can imagine with a brush, a yellow with some yellow paint on it coming through, and doing that. There are some notes. So here is a marginal note over here. There aren't a huge number of them. So some of the manuscripts that we look at, we can say, oh, maybe this was like a textbook, because it has a lot of marginal notes. This one doesn't have a huge number of them, but it's got a few. So here is another one, and this has both the red berries and then these sort of purple berries around there. That's a letter E, and another marginal note here. And there's one of these on almost every page. So it looks like, I think this is the start of the second book. So we were in the first book, I said that the work has 10 books. So we start the book with a larger title written in capitals. And then in the sections have their own headings, not the capitals. So, and the initials aren't as large. So this is, even if you can't read, which I can't read this, you're still getting a sense of navigational cues. So here we have more. These are just, I hope you guys are enjoying this, because this is just, I've been wanting to just sit down and look at this one for a while. So this is my excuse. Here we have some green berries and more red and purple. And it really seems like the artist is having a nice time sort of having variance on the artwork. Oh, so what does the touched with yellow mean? There's a question in the chat. So touched with yellow, if you look, there's a little bit of yellow coloring in this is at, so the ats have it, some of the larger letters have it, and that's all it is. It's like somebody has come through. We see it, I'm more used to seeing it in earlier manuscripts with red. You see that sometimes with red, although this seems more decorative. And I think usually when I see the red touching, I think it's more sort of helping you know when maybe sentences are starting, whereas this seems more decorative, just because like every ampersand it seems to have a little bit of yellow in it. Oh, this is the one. So this is the initial that I used in the advertising, because I like it so much. So now we're I think this is the start of book 3, if my number counting is correct. And for the first time, we've actually got a little critter here. And I'm going to keep my eyes open because I'm not sure if there are more. Up till now, they've just been sort of colored initials, but this is some kind of dragon or something. And he's actually got two mouths, one on each end. So he's eating the decoration. It's like, I don't know, eating the greenery off your plate when you have a nice meal. Something, I don't know, something like that. Okay. So here's another one. Here, I just noticed too, that there's a stamp down here, U of PA Library. I don't think we stamp in the middle of books like this anymore. So this is sort of an interesting, sign of use. That is a sign of when we got this manuscript, which I think we had it. We have had it for quite a while. The number is early. So the manuscripts that we're buying these days are coming in as in the 2000s, I think, have been the last few. And this is MS Codex 243, so it's pretty early. Penn Provenance. It was a gift in 1938. So we have had this book in our collection for quite a long time. Let's see, Amy says it's been here a while. It also has an old 6-digit accession number on the first leaf. So yeah, it's been in our collection for quite a long time. Let's keep going. Oh, there's another nice letter L. I wonder if probably not every letter of the alphabet is covered, but it would be fun to cut them out and do some, I don't mean like cut the book apart. I mean like go to the digital copy and like take the letters and I don't know, write love notes or something. I think that would be sort of fun. Let's see. Leslie wants me to zoom in a little bit, so I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see the text a little bit better. So here we go. The script is described as a humanist script, which I think I would say that this is italicized or italic. I don't know. It is a beautiful script. Like the whole manuscript is really, it's very pretty. And if you were to tell me I have this beautiful Aristotle manuscript, I would say, I don't know if I believe you. But it's nice. And it's a really nice example of Italian, sort of the Italian humanist aesthetic. So there's no gold, but there's color and the humanist, the way that humanist script looks. It just looks very Italian to me. Plus it's written in Italian. And that's hard to miss. So there's a nice, I think this is a letter D. So we have a nice, this is very sort of, I guess, insular D with the top of it tipped over instead of being straight up and down. I think of that as being an insular one. And then here we have another opening. And another thing that we see in this manuscript that I like quite a bit is if we look down here, this is a decorated, what's the word? Not crossword.
Catchword.
But the catchword. Thank you, Amy. Yeah, it's a decorated catchword. Although no, I think it is. It's just the first part of the word. So that would be whatever word comes next, as a help to whoever is doing the binding. And it's also helpful to us to figure out the structure of a book and also if there are pages missing. That can be helpful. So I like this D quite a lot with the purple. Oh, and that's a nice P. Nice P over here. And then I'm guessing we're starting now another book, fourth book, Quarto. Says Quarto. And I don't know, seeing like this upside down egg. That's very pretty. There. And there's a purple L. Ooh. Shorter book. Here we have book. Oh, now we're in book 6. So sorry, I must have miscounted. So here's book 6. This pretty, that's very pretty around the middle there. So the artist is having, I think, a really nice time doing this decoration. Matilda says the upside down egg looks like armory. It does a little bit. Let's go back and take another, whoop, where did it go? There it is. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just for being pretty decoration. Made to match the O at the very beginning. That's what Amy said. Let's see, is that, oh wow, look at that. That is very similar, isn't it? I don't know. It could be for the person who wrote. I don't think we know about how it was created, but actually we'll say more about that in a little bit, because I do want to see every page. We don't usually get to see every page. This only has 33 pages though, or 33 leaves, I should say. So we'll have a good chance of getting through it. Let's see, more of these. That's nice cue. Oh, look, here's another. This might actually have been the one that I used in my PR. But here we have again this big S with the two heads having a snack on either side. That's nice. So here we are, book, another S without the little mouths. It's probably easier to make it when they're a bit bigger. Oh, here you go. Take a look at that. There's another catchword here. An Ouroboros who's not eating itself. For a change. L because introductory nouns begin with law. Oh, probably, yes. So there's lots of L's. And then T for tray, which probably also makes sense. Oh, very nice. A, I like the way that the A's have this sort of top thing that comes across. I feel like that's still a thing that we see in modern fonts, but maybe a little bit less. All right, the double head, Matilda says the double head snake is Amphisbaena. Okay, that's new to me. But I like that it has a name, or that the practice has a name. Let's see. Oh, all right, this is nice. He's got a sort of a decoration. Oh, Martha says that A reminds her of Dora's initials. It does, actually. And I wonder, I mean, it must be that the humanist script that he was, but you're right that it's the same A or similar. So there's an L with another note. Marginal note. I haven't been paying attention to the notes, but it looks like they're the same hand, I think. So we're not looking at a book that a huge number of people wrote on. There's enough sort of staining, I think, sort of in the bottom that it seems like people read it. But if they were reading it, they weren't necessarily reacting to it in the margins of the book, which is something we see a lot. Here's another example. This is another D, because we've got this thing going there. And then I do like that little leaves in the middle. And we're almost to the end. And we end at the end of a choir. So we have the catchword here. This is folio 33. There's a 33 up in there. You can see that right in the upper corner, 33. And I think it sort of ends in the middle of a sentence. So there's something missing after this. But I was interested when I went to the record to see that this other, and we'll take another look at this in a minute, to see that there's a manuscript in the Beinecke that has more of the manuscript that this was originally from. So there was more of this book, and it's in at least 2 pieces now. And so I want to share my screen. All right, so you should see this now. Can you, no, that's not gonna work. All right. I apologize because this is small and I don't think it will share my screen if I make it much bigger. But as you can see, this S is going to look really familiar because it's the same S that that we have in our manuscript. And in fact, if I zoom in on this, so this is the Beinecke, and this is a treatise on cardinal virtues. Which is sort of an interesting, complement to, so we have this book of ethics or the summary of ethics, and now we have cardinal virtues. And if we zoom in up here, we can see that this has a number in the corner, and the number in the corner is 36. So our book ends with 33, and this one starts with 36. So there are 3, or 2, 4, 5. So there are 2 leaves that who knows where they went. But at some point before 1938, right? Because that's when we got this book. These 2 texts were actually part of the same book, and maybe they're, maybe these leaves exist somewhere. Probably not, because they're probably not fancy enough to keep. But maybe there's even more of the book around that we don't know about. So I was just going to come down and see what it said about. It doesn't say anything. So I don't know how the Beinecke got this manuscript or anything like that, or at what point it was divided into at least these 2 sections. But I wanted to share this with you because it's not very frequent that we know about manuscripts that were taken apart and then having the whole sections available in other libraries. So I will stop the share so we can spend the last few minutes if you all have questions, or I can just sort of come through. And I know there was a note. Let's see. Martha says the Nichomachean ethics has to do with Aristotle's theory of virtues as well. Yes, discusses his view of human nature and what it is the condition for a man to be virtuous. So that makes a lot of sense to follow it with the treatise on cardinal virtues. Yeah, I think that's interesting. And it would be, it's fun for me at least to sort of imagine what the, if there were other texts, what they could be. I don't know. But this is all we have now. Here, I want to take a closer look maybe at this one at the front, which is a letter O. So we've got that upside down egg in the middle and the vines. It's very pretty. All right. Bran has pointed out that Yale has a little bit of more information, provenance information on their record. So I'm going to take a quick look. I'm curious if it has Burr in it. Let's see, belonged to Federico Pateta, professor of the history of law at the University of Turin at the beginning of this century, being last century. Purchased from the Turin dealer by H.P. Krause, who sold it in 1958. So we've had our copy longer than Yale has had their copy. So it was sometime before 1938. Unidentified arms incorporated initials. Interesting. So, yeah, I've never seen anything quite like this either, which is really something else. So here's that A. It does look like Durer, doesn't it? Oh, the other thing is that, so who wrote this text? There is a name attached to the text, and that is Taddeo Altarotti. And I'd never heard of this person. He lived in the 13th century. He died in 1295. So was active probably in the last half. And he was not primarily a philosopher. He was a physician. And he was maybe at Bologna, I can't remember. But he's primarily known for being a teacher of medicine at whatever university he was at. And so he's actually really well known for that. And so it was sort of interesting to see his name attached to this text. We actually have another copy of this text that's a couple of hundred years older. So in the 1300s, maybe late 1300s. And it's interesting that he also, in addition to his medical teaching, he was also apparently interested enough in Aristotle's ethics work that he wrote his own summary that then ended up getting copied at least a few times, because we even have two copies of that. So that's sort of interesting. So it is now 12:30. Thank you, Amy, for dropping the links in again. Next week, we'll be back. We'll be looking at one of my favorites. And it's a Bible. It has a lot of illuminations and drolleries, and it's very pretty. And then in 2 weeks, I'm just doing all my favorites next month, a couple of medical and astronomical texts, which are really interesting and fun. So thank you all for coming today. And I hope I'll see you again next week and the week after. So take care, everybody.